I think we're rolling.
Yes.
We're ling of the rope.
Got banana string on my bed.
Oh, so you telling me to not fucking get your shit dirty, only to get your own shit dirty?
Well, yeah, it's my carpet, my rules.
Yeah, you're ugly. How about that?
Okay, I agree. Actually.
¿Por qué? Porque, señor. Wow, we're situated.
4K, Dork-K, Snark-K.
We're situated. Fuck. I have a burp like stuck in my throat.
So where are we in space?
We're currently in the space of your residence, which probably millions of years ago, there was probably just some trees standing here and some animals that are now extinct. And the time that we're located in within this space is 3:24 p.m. and 12 seconds on August 6th, 2019. I had a show 3 days ago on Saturday, and it was cool. It was sick. I missed that shit, man. That shit was fun. I'm trying to figure out a way that you could perform, but in clothing.
Oh, yeah. I want to do a fashion show eventually, like a runway thing.
I think you should try to do one this year. Like a small scale one. Because I already know enough people who'd be willing to model.
Yeah, same.
So like that's already good. And the only thing that would probably be a drag is just figuring out where to do it.
Yeah.
But after that, like, that's it.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
And I got to make the pieces.
Yeah. And you got to make the pieces. Are you working on a collection right now? Do you have any collection ideas in mind?
I am, actually. I just started working. Well,
you got a concept in mind?
Yeah, it's going to be around propaganda. So just...
Oh, so that's why you showed me that piece. Like that piece is part of it? Okay.
Yeah. So it's like any piece of information that is...
propagandated.
That is designed to influence mass populations to perceive things in a certain way, perceive cultures, perceive other races in a certain way, influence them to join the war, to fight strangers in a foreign land. Unless you don't love your country, then that's cool.
I think that could be very cool in terms of like marketing, promotion, and like campaign stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that could be very, very sick because there's so many like clips from audio to like video of propaganda.
Oh yeah.
And like posters and all of that shit, like old stuff when that shit was even more like explicit before things got like super subtle as they are now.
What I'm doing it for is I have a show on the 24th. So I don't think I'll have time to build a whole campaign before then.
I think you do.
But I'm going to make the pieces first, and then I'll put it up at the show, and then after that I'll push it again as like a second release sort of thing.
Yeah, you'll have the show version.
Yeah, the show is like the pre-release, and then I'll.
How many pieces are you planning to have?
I was thinking seven pieces of propaganda.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Pieces of propaganda. That's tight.
So what?
How many pieces in are you?
Are
you just putting?
I have like two. I have two that are ready to go from like just my sketchbook from time. So I got about 5 more to go, but I still gotta like craft it so the theme kind of fits around it.
Bring the idea to life.
Yeah, sort of thing.
There's
a whole bunch of things I want to pull in, like the Tibet invasion, Uncle Sam, freaking maybe even World War II stuff, and like just a bunch of stuff. Even like today, there's so much propaganda.
Yeah, just so subtle now.
Yeah, and it's on such a mass scale. It's like you can't even tell if it is propaganda or not.
You can't tell anymore what is. Yeah, because everything is not like posters and TV. It's more everyone can create an account for social media now, and that's where it happens. That's where politics happen now, mainly, especially with Donald, which is it's such a crazy thing to think that that nigga actually like became the leader of the most powerful
Yeah.
country in the world
And he's public enemy number 1, and he runs your
at
country.
the same time.
It's crazy.
that to me makes me think, because people hated him, but he became president.
Bro, that's like this whole past few days, and I guess this whole week too. I've just been snapping out of reality and being like, whoa. Like looking in the mirror, like, whoa, is this actually real? Like, why am I in this body? How did I even get here? And like time just seems to be warped for me. Like, I can't remember what I did yesterday at 2:00.
Yeah, time is sketch. Time is just, yeah, I've been feeling the same thing, but like, I think it's just because the fact that I had to show, because Sunday and Monday did not feel like Sunday and Monday, like how Sunday and Monday usually feel for me. And just so far this week has just not felt like the days are not feeling like, I don't know, maybe it's just
they're just warped.
We're just not feeling time, because it doesn't feel like things are going fast, but it also doesn't feel like things are going slow. I feel like things are just going.
And it's like time flies when you have fun. That's so trippy, because during the time when you're having fun, time is so slow. But when you actually step back and look at actual time and hours, it's like 2 hours have gone by and it feels like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah. Facts.
Whereas if you're bored and you're looking for something quick, then time feels, I don't know, it's flipped.
Feels fast.
Completely. Yeah.
Feels like you're just, not only does it feel fast, but it feels like you're wasting it too.
Yeah. And it's going slow because like, oh, it's your 5th time on Instagram in like the last hour.
Yeah, and you thought you thought like going on it and scrolling was gonna make like 10 minutes go by, but it's only been like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then you close it, and then you open it again, and it's been another 30 seconds, and you're just like, it's. I think it's just the thing of feeling trapped, like in the present moment, and how it's so objective, like. There's no changing it. There's no changing like right now.
Right.
Like right now we're in this space doing this, having this conversation, and then recording it, and then there's nothing else. Like what happens after, when it's not in our control, what happened before is not in our control. It's just really just right now. And that's crazy. And
that's also powerful. Because at this point this is the only thing we have control over, and we're aware of that. Whereas if you're like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do exactly 2 minutes from now?
And it's so uncertain, so much right?
Anxiety, yeah.
And it's funny because we know this about ourselves, that we fully dislike like the unknown, but we still spend so much time dwelling on it when there's things that are not unknown that we can control. And bro, just from that show itself, it's probably my biggest lesson from the show. Since I want to focus more, like this podcast, mainly the selfish part of it is just us talking about our process and documenting it, so that when shit like works out, like you can go back on this and see, and be like, oh shit, like we said this, blah blah.
Look how stupid we were.
The main thing
maybe.
I learned from the show is that the only thing you actually have control over is yourself.
Yeah.
Because the main thing that was in my mind, like practicing and going over the show in my head, was like how like the way the crowd's gonna react, the way I want the crowd to react. And you know, the thing, the trick your mind plays to you is that it makes everything looks perfect when you think about it, which is why a lot of your old memories are extremely dramatized.
Yeah.
Or like romanticized. Like you'll think of the past, like that's what nostalgia is.
Because you'll emphasize certain parts of that space, time, whatever. Whereas if someone else is asked to describe the exact same time and place, they'll have a completely different understanding of it.
Yeah. So it's basically what nostalgia is, right? It's like you're looking back on something at a time when you were probably having the most miserable part of your life, but then 20 years later you look back and you can't even remember the shitty things. All you remember is like, this was perfect, and that's really just your mind playing tricks on you, because that past doesn't exist anymore. It only exists in your head, and your brain can formulate it in however way it wants. So that's what I was like imagining in my head. And that's the shit we were talking about, like, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that, I want this to be like this in the future, I want this to be like that. And then when I started like doing it, the way I was imagining the crowd reacting was not the way they were. And then
Did they exceed or
not exceed? They were, bro. In my head, like everyone's fucking moving like they're on crack.
like jumping around?
Yeah, everyone's
dancing.
like losing their minds. And then I realized that that's not really how it's gonna be for a long time. Because even in big concerts that I've been to, a majority of the people just stand around and just shake their heads. Because a lot of people, that's just not their type of personality. They just don't want to. They're just not the types to jump around and push people around. And it's just
unless it's like really like everybody's doing it and it's just the energy that's it's just permeating into space and into your consciousness.
You know how I imagine it, like how I think is the best way to do it? It's like my conclusion from that was the most I can do is put out the most that I can. Like energy wise. Right. So no matter what, if people are not, because the first thing for you to get that energy from those people is they have to receive it too.
Right.
And your goal is to create a feedback loop. So you send it as much as you can, as loud as you can, so that even if those people are not, they don't necessarily have the receptors active right now to receive it, even if the receptors are very low, the fact that your energy is so much and so loud, they'll receive it.
Right.
So
it's like you've already done it, so you give them permission to do it. Yeah.
So as soon as they receive it, they'll one of the most like likely things that they'll do is just send it back. If they feel it like loudly enough, they send it back to you, and then you receive it. And then now it's doubled.
Yeah, it's amplified.
And then you send it back, and then they send it back, and then you send it back, and there you have something.
And then you're in the exact same space where your consciousness is aligned.
Yeah, and then you actually feel like the hive mind of that moment, which is like you know how Paul Chek says it, like we're actually all connected to just one big mind.
Yeah.
And all you need to do to realize that is to just connect to that person, like willingly. Get yourself to the point where you guys are both vibrating at that same like frequency. I fucking hate saying that.
It's stupid
fucking
because
hippie
it's
weirdo, man.
true, but people go like, oh,
they've cliched it. They've cornified it, but that's literally what it is. There's so many points, and I know everyone has had that experience when you're just, especially with like a best friend or something. I know a lot of people have those experiences with their best friends where it's like, oh shit, I was just about to call you.
Yeah. Or like today when you just came to my house.
Oh yeah,
I was walking out the door to check the mail.
Yeah, I was just walking towards this nigga's door, and then as soon as I'm about to literally ring it, I see him come up and then get out of the door. It's like, bro, like you have to. There's something happening there. It could be pure coincidence. Who knows? But
there's no. I don't know. I don't think there's any such thing as coincidence. Like it's happening for a reason. If you cross by something at a certain time and place, you're meant to see it, and it's meant to have influence over your day, whatever it is.
Mainly because of how vastly different your life will be if you didn't come across that day.
And there's so many variables. Like out of any single day, like
there's so many ways a day could go.
Yeah.
and it's the smallest thing that can make the biggest differences.
Like you missing one bus, meaning you have to catch the next, and then you see a friend on that bus.
Yeah. And then you see a friend from that bus, you guys exchange ideas, and now you're on a whole different set of things. They might put you onto something. Maybe they were going through a traumatic experience, and then they tell you about that, and then that puts you in a state of mind. Bro, look at this. This is purely not even for the podcast, but I'm going to put the video of this first. I saw two birds that literally on the same street next to each other, okay? And then I saw this guy.
Oh, that was just here.
When I got out the bus.
Ha! That's hilarious.
He's just walking with a ball on his head. Like, consistently. It did not fall. Is that good for your posture? Because it's like...
Low-key it is, because your spine has to be so aligned that, like, if it's not...
he's walking, like, fast.
Yeah, that was crazy balance. Holy shit.
And it's not moving at all. That was so random. But, yeah, that was the biggest lesson I learned. It's like, even for you, like, the most you can do is just... like give the most that you can, and reception, money, everything else is literally byproduct. Like the care package that I just finished, I could have blown up. My career as a famous person could have started from that, and it didn't. And it could, maybe it will, maybe it won't, and that doesn't matter. that's all just byproduct. The success is actually saying you're gonna do it,
Right.
like saying you're gonna
The
do that collection,
process of creating it.
saying you're gonna do that collection, and you have that idea for the propaganda stuff, and end up doing it. That's the success.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that comes with it, the sales, the whatever, that's all just extra.
Because
shit.
if your end goal is not only if your end goal is anything other than capturing something that you've accessed in your head and putting it into material space that is real life, then what else do you want?
Executing ideas.
What else do you want? Because if it's not, then everything else, then that is just the means to an end.
Yeah.
Whereas it should just be the end. And it's like, if it's not, then it's not going to feel right. And people can sense that.
Yeah, people can sense that. I don't know if I've said this in the last podcast. The whole thing about that your people wait for whatever they want to manifest for them to feel a certain way, instead of feeling that way so that they can manifest the thing that they want. I think that's what you should be doing. I was reading an article about that. It was like it was from, I don't know if you or anyone listening knows the application Medium. It's for blogs and written, mainly
I've heard,
written
I think I've
articles.
been on that website.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've sent you an article from them already. And the title was like 5 habits of successful people that you probably have never heard. But I was like, okay, let's see what this corny shit is.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's funny because he started it by listing the corny shit that the people who create those articles like say.
Right.
It's like, get up at 5 a.m., drink tea, do all of this like specific, unique things that unique person probably did. But there's a lot of like people who have money. You can build a case of people who have money who do those specific things for you to come to the conclusion that that's the thing you need to do. You know what I mean? Like,
say that again.
Because let's say Jeff Bezos, Steve, Bill, and Elon, all of them wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning. You think that that's a key to being successful.
Right.
Like, you think that that's an objective thing that you need to do. Yeah. But he stresses the fact that luck is one of the biggest things. And I've spoken about this already from Outliers, from the few episodes I've spoken about Outliers. But like, luck is actually one of the biggest factors to it.
Mm-hmm. And that ties in with like coincidence too.
But the luck actually ties in also with the law of attraction, and how if you're not in that state, those weird coincidental things that happen will not happen. Those shows that I got was because I was focused on getting shows.
Right.
And just somehow, some way, which is the weird, like, mysterious let go and let God aspect of things. Like, somehow, some way, this guy DMs me, like, and then this guy says, do you want to perform here? Somehow, some way, I come across an ad for this service going, are you an artist? Do you want to perform live shows? I swipe up. I skipped it, and I was like, wait. And I swiped back, swiped up, and then I signed up for it. And then 2 months later, they booked me a show I did 3 days ago.
Fuck, that was 3 days ago?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's the 6th, no? Yeah, it's the 6th. It was the 3rd.
Time.
Bro, it's weird. But it's really just, you have to, I don't know. I don't have anything like crazy to prove that point, because I'm still 19 and I haven't really like lived that much.
I don't think you need to prove it. I think it's already been.
Yeah, but you know, people are skeptical.
Yeah.
And when you're saying shit, but at the same time, it's just me talking to you. I'm not necessarily trying to convince anyone of anything, but to me, I genuinely feel that it's the most important part is to actually feel that way. And you don't need to fake it, because if you really try to focus, you can find it in your present situation.
You can try to fake it. Like, bro, I was biking 2 days ago, and I was just biking. Didn't have, like, there's no mood on my face, and then I was like, whoa, I'm actually just on a 2-wheeled freaking like mechanical thing that allows me to go fast as fuck. And I'm feeling the wind on my face, and I just randomly started smiling, like, whoa, this is crazy. And like I just got a whole like
mood elevated.
Yeah, like my spine just like straightened up, and I was just happy for no reason at all, other than I just started smiling and
taking in what was going on.
Yeah. And that's really like what we strive for, right? God, to access God, to be present. There's nothing else.
State of bliss. Because that's probably what was going on. Like wind hitting your face.
Yeah.
You're like physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just taking
that clip I sent you yesterday. Duncan Trussell was saying, when the mechanical processes, something like this, when the mechanical processes of your cognition, that is your monkey mind, your reactive self, when that shit turns off and you're just pure consciousness, that's ultimate bliss. Like there's nothing else you can strive for at that point, because at that point you're just happy. There's nothing else you want. You just are. Because
the self is kind of turned off in a bit. Yeah. In a way. Like it's all desire, all ego is just off for a bit. And it's the perfect balance, right? It's like you don't need to it's not a great idea to have it fully off all the time, but to be able to not let it dictate itself, like to not let it control you and move you around, like your ego, to have it just move you around that much, like against your own will, your own self controlling you so against strong. Your own will. Like you don't want that to happen. You want to be able to just be able to have moments where you can just like step out of it and then real quickly, even just for a minute, even a minute of just like selflessness.
The best tool for that is breath. Like I'm telling you 100%. Today I was juggling.
Breath and natural medicines.
Yeah, and meditation. I was juggling today, trying to get to my 100, right? I got it in 5 minutes today. Usually it's like 10, 15. But what I tried was, so whenever you get to like, okay, 70, and then I start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. 10's intervals of 10. Yeah. But then you'll be like, oh shit, I'm so close. And then what I did was I just stopped breathing. I just on the exhale, I'll hold my breath. And what that does is just puts me right back into my body so that I can't think about anything else. Just what's happening right now.
Yeah, because your body's didn't just like, I'm not receiving oxygen. So it just starts to pay attention more, like, oh, what's going on? Why am I not getting this? And then it's so
helpful, like.
Bro. Speaking of just breath, like at work, that's what I do now too, bro. I start like I had this thing for like past like maybe month or two where I would start like working, and then midway through the shift, my eyes would just start feeling super tired, and then just from feeling like super tired, I'm like, okay, fuck, my break is not until like 10 minutes from now. I mean, not even 10 minutes, like two plus hours from now. I just started my shift. Like on the first hour, I'll feel like that. I'm like, damn, it's a 9-hour shift. I have to figure out how I'm going to stay awake and not like slack off.
Right, how to create energy from nothing.
Yeah. You know what I'll do?
What?
If I'm on cash and cash is slow, I'll literally just Wim Hof.
Right there?
Yep. I'll walk to somewhere where it doesn't seem like I'm doing something harmful, because people might be worried. Because Wim Hof, you kind of catch someone's attention and make them feel like
people think you're hyperventilating and like going.
So I'll go in a shop and then I'll just be like very subtly like, and then I won't do it for like 30 cycles because that's too long. I'll just do it until I start to feel a dizziness, and then I let go of the last breath, and then hold it for as long as I can. I don't even count, and I do the inhale, hold 10 seconds, boom, gone.
Wow. During your shift,
tiredness gone, tiredness fully
Holy
gone,
shit.
And I'm just good. And then I'm good to whenever I need to take a nap or whatever, I can do that. But then like from that, I'm able to keep myself controlled. So ever since that moment when I did it, I've been doing it ever since.
And I think not just because of the oxygen, but I think the reason the breath is so powerful is because you need your consciousness to have such willpower that you can influence your breath, right? So you have to have your willpower right there, or else you can't consciously affect your breath if you don't have willpower. If you're just a monkey running away from an animal,
specifically
you're not
the
going to be able
the intense like breathing techniques, like Wim Hof. Because Wim Hof, like doing that shit first in the morning, actually tests you.
Yeah, you don't even want to do it.
Because you don't. It takes so much effort to actually do it. Because you have to inhale super hard.
Right after the first breath, you're like,
Oh
okay,
my
I got to
God.
finish my 3 cycles.
After the first breath, and you get that moment of just like letting go, and you watch yourself not need to breathe for like the next minute and a half to 2 minutes, and you're just sitting there, and the way it actually shuts off your mind, like you don't think, even if
I
you
still
want
do
to.
a little bit, but it's like
All I
it's
think
so
about is the now.
diminished.
All I think about is, oh shit,
mhm.
oh man, I can hear the birds. Oh man, blah, blah, blah. I don't think about anything except for what's going on. I don't think about anything except the actual exercise I'm doing. Like, fuck, let's see how long I last now. Oh shit, it's been a minute. Okay, no. But it's just the feeling of it, and it's funny because doesn't it put you on fight or flight? Right? It's like an adrenaline shot.
Yeah, I think
but
something to do with your
through your breath.
adrenaline.
Like niggas figured out.
Well, because when you're running from an animal, it's like
Yeah,
you're
facts.
breathing, hyperventilating, no matter what,
That's
because you're trying to
facts.
live, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it activates, because your nervous system gets that wake
Wow.
up call.
That's so interesting.
And like in terms of like fitness too, breath. Oh my God! Like you don't even have to work hard, bro. Like you just breathe from your nose and go on a jog. Go for 10 minutes. Only breathe from your nose. You tried it. How hard it is.
Oh, dude, like after the 10 minutes, all I do is like I'll feel tired, of course, but then
But like
I
during
don't
it,
feel like
right?
it's
You
weird.
catch your breath. You catch your breath under like 20 seconds.
It's that's
but
exactly.
during it's so hard because your nose doesn't feel
Intense.
big enough to capture the thing and like
the
capture
amount
the
of
oxygen.
oxygen that
Yeah.
you think you need.
You gotta like. I think maybe that's why black people have like huge nostrils, because evolutionarily, like you've been hunting, right?
I
So
think
you
it's
have to-
also because of the climate. I remember my science teacher telling me, I don't remember the specific reason he said, but it had something to do with the climate and how it's hot where we were from. It's it's the temperature in our noses needed more space
Oxygen.
to take the oxygen because of the heat or something like
that
that.
makes sense, because when it's humid, it's like the air's so thin.
Yeah, and that's why like the whites have like such thin ones because they don't need as much because it's
crazy.
so cold. Yeah, there's probably science.
Anthropology is
There's
crazy.
definitely science behind it.
And also not even just that breathing part, like even when you're doing squats or even stretching, like it helps so much if you just tune into your breath, because what you're doing is you're allowing that position you're holding to be in sync with your central nervous system. Because if you're not used to touching your toes, your nervous system's gonna be like, oh fuck, I can't do this. Your breath's gonna be like, you can't control your breath. Like I've been in yoga classes where I've been able to hold like crazy positions and I'm breathing fine. But other people, they'll be like, oh, I can't breathe, because they're not used to it. Their brain they haven't made those neural connections
Yoga is sketch,
to
bro.
do it.
Yoga is so sketch.
Yeah. So like, but also it's like you just have to calm down. Like you just take a slow, deep breath. Breathe like into the bottom of your stomach anytime you're uncomfortable. And just slow it down, bro. I think I can actually hold, like, take one breath in and out in a minute.
Oh fuck!
I think so, because last time we checked, I can inhale for 30, right?
It was 20. Calm down.
Okay, I think it's 30 now. I don't know.
Calm down.
We'll see. But
We could try it when we're finishing.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that on this podcast. I've been reading 1984, and I haven't read it actually. Like I haven't been reading as much as I like usually read because, bro, it's crazy how that's a habit now. I remember forcing myself to read every day for 60 days. Like actually, this is one of the first habits I actually built, like willingly, because
Nice.
I remember like making myself. Anyways, yeah, I read Brave New World and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read 1984 after, because they're basically the same thing but different versions. And then I started reading 1984. I got to like page 40 something, and then I didn't read for a long time because I kept, instead of reading on the bus, I would edit the podcast on the bus, or I would like do other shit on the bus. So I was on page 44 until like 2 days ago maybe, and then I remembered something I had read, like I had watched actually, I think maybe 2 years ago, and then I never tried it. And then I was like, okay, let me try it. So I got the audiobook for 1984. And the trick was, just because this is just about like sharing information. So if anyone wants to read faster, what I recommend you do is, if you have money, get an Audible subscription for $14 a month. If you don't, figure out how to get the audiobook.
There's YouTube audiobooks.
Exactly. Figure out. It's just that it's inconvenient because YouTube doesn't have the system of continuing where you.
Right. Unless you have YouTube Premium, then you can download stuff.
Yeah, but even then, they don't have the option of continuing exactly where you ended, and they don't separate them by chapters. It's just the whole thing straight way through. Those guys do, so that I can actually like stay oriented. That's my main issue with audiobooks on YouTube. But the trick is basically put the audiobook on, but still read the book, the physical book. If you want to read for maximum comprehension and speed, keep that on. Put the audiobook on ×2 or ×1.5 speed. So that's going to make you go faster. Even if you don't, you'll understand every word because you're reading it with your eyes. So even though the nigga is going fast in your ear, you're still going to be able to
you're
understand.
reading it while you listen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You'll be able to understand what they're saying, even though they're going fast and not even pronouncing every word as perfect, and then you're not going to get stuck not being able to pronounce the words in your head. You're not going to be in your head while reading, because that's the main thing that slows people down, because they feel like, because when they read, they repeat the words they're reading in their heads. But now you have this guy in double speed saying the words for you.
Right.
At
someone already
speed.
dictating it.
So now I'm on page 140 something. It has been like 2 days. I read like 40 pages on my way to work, like I think yesterday or Sunday. Yeah, Sunday I read 40 pages on my way to work, which is what was
it's like a
50
page
minutes.
And a half a minute.
50 minutes. So like both buses probably equal to 50 minutes of reading.
Jesus.
And so just to paint the picture, the audiobook for Brave New World is 11 hours. If I read it in normal time. If I read it in double time, if I read it in double time, it's 6 to 7 hours. So assuming I read 1 hour every day, in a week, I'm done. So
crazy.
And you don't actually miss out because you're not forcing yourself to read fast, because your brain's catching every word because the nigga's saying it in your head. Whoever reads the audiobook. Yeah. So that's probably my favorite way to do things right now. I figured out how to get the audiobooks for free. I'm not gonna incriminate myself, but I did figure it out. Just torrent it. The Pirate Bay. Anyways, I think we're gonna end it there.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna go watch Spider-Man Far From Home at the theater.
The Aider.
The Aider?
Yeah, and plus we didn't have anything to talk about today.
I wanted to talk about those things that I talked about, actually.
Well, you told me you didn't know.
Bro,
you always say that, yeah.
Hopefully this is still recording.
I think
but if not, then we'll speak to the GoPro. Thank you guys for listening to this
super short. How long
edition of the Ataraxy. Probably 30 minutes.
25.
30.
Oh, okay.
You underestimate time, buddy.
Hey, man.
Thank you for... Oh, my God. Hopefully Lateran comes through next week, because he was supposed to come through this week, but he pussied out because he's scared of me.
Of us, our power.
Of my strength of intellect. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I am. Am I? We don't know.
Possibly.
Just like
Who
the
knows?
existence of God.
Right.
We don't know.
Jesus possible Christ.
Maybe possibly. If he does, though, Satan is bad. Let's not swear and fornicate. Just in case, if he's actually real. Let's just follow the rules.
Well, actually, God is the devil. I mean...
I know, right?
Yeah.
But metaphysical stuff sucks.
Yeah.
Listen, you're focused on the top of the memory card when there's the bottom of the memory card. But you're not focused on the memory card. That's basically what we're saying. Give us Woody.